and welcome to this episode of Empowered Entrepreneur. My guest today is Molly Rose Speed. She is an expert in creating what everyone wants more of, time freedom. She is the creator of Virtual Assistant Academy and the founder of Virtual Assistant Management, which provides trusted VA certification and placement in the online market. Hi, Molly Rose.
Hello, I'm so happy to be here.
Happy to have you. I started my business as a VA, so let's dive into what that actually is.
Love that. Yes. So, the way I explain a virtual assistant these days, because it truly is a jack of all trades in the online business space, but is the expert admin in an online business. So, they can do tasks that are day to day operations, things like checking your email, managing your schedule, doing travel booking, doing minor website updating, helping with customer support, some social media. And then as the VAs grow and expand their skills, they're known to step into things like actually website building and creating, or course creation and management, or community management, or helping with podcasts and getting kind of into the creative space and the marketing space. So there's all sorts of things that virtual assistants can do, but in the most basic way, the expert admin within an online business.
Awesome. And you mentioned a lot of tasks there. So, how can we identify which tasks should go to a VA?
Yeah. So when I work with clients, I often spend a lot of time helping them just get clear. So they come in for a discovery call, they share, I'm really overwhelmed. Someone told me I need a virtual assistant, but I don't know where to start. And so we kind of pull that out of them and ask them about all the aspects of their business. So if you're looking to outsource and you're one of those people that needs to get help in your business, start identifying all the things that you do in your day, and then all the things you don't want to be doing, or you're, this is a big word, but incompetent at doing. Like creating graphics for some people on Canva is something that a lot of business owners should not be doing. So by quickly outsourcing that, as an example, is something that a VA can easily do for you. That's kind of going to allow you a lot more time for yourself. So kind of getting clear on what you need to outsource and being really realistic, and then prioritizing, not, giving them the kitchen sink at once. That would probably freak you out as well as make them overwhelmed, but kind of decide what are those first, second, and third things to get off your plate.
Gotcha. And what about budgeting for a VA? Like, what do you anticipate a new organization or an established organization need?
Yeah, so there's lots of places to find a virtual assistant, and that dictates the cost. So we can go through sites like Upwork and Fiverr, and there a lot of the virtual assistants that you can find on there are from overseas, or there's agencies that are sourcing overseas VAs. This can be extremely cost effective for a new business owner that doesn't have a lot of revenue coming in but needs the help. So there, I'm starting to see $8 to $10 an hour. You can find it less, but that's kind of the sweet spot that I see. Now, when we outsource to overseas VAs, I find you have to be very, very specific, and it might take some trial and error to find the right person. It can be done though. I've heard some great success stories, and I'm envious of those people that are able to outsource offshore for a fraction of the cost. But it does take time, and it's a different level of virtual assistant in my world. And then the second way I encourage business owners to find virtual assistants is to use their network. 9 times out of 10, there's somebody that's a contact or a few contacts away that has a great person, and maybe a stay-at-home mom or someone transitioning out of corporate, who can probably take on this and learn this career pretty quickly. So by having a clear job description, you can go and source those individuals, and they charge what they would like to charge, right? I recommend my VAs don't charge less than 25 an hour. The pandemic's really changed things for that. We can go sling a pizza and make that an hour. And I find virtual assistants are a little more valuable than making pizzas, although that's an important skill set too. And then lastly, you can go through agencies, which cost a little bit more, but you have a lot more protection. So if you are to need your virtual assistant replaced, or they take maternity leave, or if they decide they don't want to do this anymore, we can easily backfill without any hiccups. And then they also provide a lot of consultative guidance in helping you really identify the right VA. So I see agencies on average charge about 45 an hour, 40 to 50 an hour. Ours starts at 35 as a reference.
Oh, very nice. And what or how many VAs should we have?
I think you should just have one virtual assistant. And I think it should be the first person a company hires because they can do a lot of things for your business. I call it the 27 hat syndrome when you start a business and you start it for a specific reason. I want to be a coach, or I'm a speaker, or I'm selling this widget, or whatever it might be. And then you realize you have to do everything else like bookkeeping and blogging and graphic design and marketing and customer support and checking your email and online scheduling, and I'm just naming a few. So all those things a virtual assistant can likely do. And then as you scale, you can add more specialists to your team. So maybe you just have someone that focuses on social media, or just someone that does community support, as an example.
So scaling is a goal.
Yeah, yeah. But I see a lot of very, very successful businesses run with just the right hand. I end up calling these VP of ops, right? Your ops manager within your business. They're far more than an assistant at that point.
Yeah, because when I started my business well, relaunched it in 2020 because of COVID,
Yeah.
there was VAs, and then the next step was online business managers.
hmm
So is that something that a business should look into or build the VA into that?
I think that you should elevate the talent that you already have if they have the ability to level up and run your ops, run the whole show. Maybe they have people beneath them if they need to for things like that. I would always offer that to the person already working within the organization if they're a good fit and they can step into it. However, if that person needs more guidance and you don't want to be the one to do it, then that's where that mid-level would probably be beneficial for the business.
Very cool. And if someone's wanting to become a VA, what should they do?
So when I started, and maybe you can relate to this, there wasn't support, right? I started this, let's see, I'm 6. I started this 13 years ago, and the term virtual assistant wasn't anything I even knew. I didn't even know what I was doing when I started. It's kind of like being a photographer and you pick up a camera and you all of a sudden decide you're a photographer. I found that in the virtual assistant space. So I'm really on a mission to professionalize this career, to help all those entrepreneurs out there not have any of these burn stories that I hear about when they work with a VA, like, oh, it did not go well. Like, we need to really up level this, and there's no standard to do that. So I see a lot of fellow VAs also doing this as well, and it's wonderful to see. So if you have the means to invest in a course, I think that's a great way to go because you will hit the ground running right from the beginning. I have a certification program that we walk you through and get hands-on advice and everything you need to run a really good business. And these programs also will allow you to charge your worth from the beginning. I spent years not charging what I should have because I just didn't know. If you don't have the money to invest, there is great advice all over social media, all over YouTube, to get started. But I do favor, doing it through an online program. I find that to be really, really helpful. And I will add, learning new skill sets is something that you will continuously do as a VA. And the more you learn, the more you can level up and kind of step into that operations role as well. So using things like YouTube to learn constantly is super helpful. So you don't have to pay for everything that you need to learn.
Yeah, and what suggestions do you have for the VAs to not become overwhelmed with many clients?
Oh, yeah. So I have VAs that will take on 7 and they'll just lose their minds, at a time, and VAs that realize, okay, 2 to 3 is probably where I should be. So you really have to kind of look at when you're serving 7 clients, your energy is being shifted from one to the next. It's very chaotic. So you need to figure out how to kind of create that balance within your business. And sometimes it takes some time. So for example, have minimums for what you're willing to work with a client for. So I know I can take 2 clients at 5 hours a week, and I want 1 client at 20 hours a week. That's 30 hours total. So you kind of have to start to fill that for yourself, and kind of create kind of that bulk scheduling or bulk business planning for figuring out what you can offer or how many of those hourly retainers that you're able to kind of fill. I think that's a good approach. The other thing I'll mention is as you become a more tenured VA, you learn all these awesome skill sets that you can offer as projects. So we have a VA who got into Squarespace, absolutely loves building websites, and now she offers 2-day website builds. Not something you would necessarily advertise as a VA, but it's certainly something that you can learn and easily do as a VA and make, thousands of dollars in just a couple days. So that's a cool way to kind of balance project work with maybe your retainer clients.
Nice. And is this something that is discussed in your program?
Yep, I go through all that planning. So kind of helping you figure out what to do.
Very cool. And how can someone reach you?
Yeah, so my certification program is under virtualassistantacademy.com. And we train you on the business side and the tech side of what you need to know as a VA. The tech is always changing as it is. And then if you're looking to hire a VA, we have a virtual assistant placement company called Virtual Assistant Management, where we place VAs and operations managers.
Awesome. Any final thoughts for the audience?
I think what I'd like to share is when you're thinking about this and maybe you're working in corporate or you're wondering if this is right for you, I think what really inspired me is this is truly a career that I could create a career around my life instead of a life around my career, which I think is what all entrepreneurs can have a taste of, especially if you have boundaries and you can balance your day. And so this is just an easy way to kind of get going and kind of get into this whole online world, and sky's the limit from there.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time today, Molly Rose.
Thanks for having me.